Yo, welcome back to the Hoop Objective Podcast with your boy Armani. Today we're going to be doing another reaction to, you already know, Thinking Basketball, my favorite basketball channel actually on YouTube. For anyone who loves hooping or loves basketball, bro, y'all gotta be watching him because he'll get your basketball IQ right, bro. So today we're going to be watching how Curry and Draymond affected, game 2 of the NBA Finals, especially when it came to defense. So y'all make sure to, stay and watch the whole video and make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. And let's go ahead and get started.
With 4.5 to play in the third of Game 2, Jason Tatum drained his 6th three of the night to make it 68-62.
Tatum was going off at first, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Less than 6 minutes later, it was a 29-point game after a Warriors vintage third-quarter blitzkrieg to put the Celtics away. We'll get to that run in a minute, but first, this game started just like the last one ended, with Jaylen Brown dropping bombs, netting back-to-back transition threes from the same spot.
Tatum loved them little transition threes from the wing, bro.
The Celtics had some success in Game 1 against the Warriors zone using a simple middle screen for the ball handler, so they come back to it in Game 2, forcing Steph Curry to slide over, but Brown's on fire, so he bites hard on the closeout, and Jaylen drives it home for an and one.
Golden State loves that 1-2-2.
Cross matches in transition have been important in this series. Grant Williams is switched onto Curry on this three-point attempt, so he can run down the floor and take Steph to the post, which forces defensive help, and the ball ends up in Brown's hands for yet another triple. But that was about it for Brown, because Draymond just shut him down for the rest of the game. This was the key tactical adjustment out of Game 1 for Golden State, where Brown had success attacking Clay and other guards off switches.
Yeah, that's the thing with Jaylen Brown. When it comes to his game, he loves those little transition threes, and he also loves, like, if you give him space, he'll do one move and he'll get to his spots and he'll knock down an open shot. No, not an open shot, but he'll get a good look. What Golden State did to adjust is they will pick up on him a little earlier because his handle isn't tight enough to be able to get around that defense and get to his spots the way he usually does. So what they did was they picked him up a little earlier, and he couldn't get to his spots the way he wanted to. So that's what he's about to touch on.
So Steve Kerr stuck green onto Brown, and while that's a great earthy color scheme, it was a difficult matchup for Jaylen.
He couldn't get to his spots.
Quick enough to stay with Brown's driving game, and yet he can still roam off in the paint to help dribble penetration and recover without too much damage. That 7'1" wingspan and his active hands are a tough match.
He got a 7'1" wingspan?
Sometimes loose ball handling.
That explains a lot, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Picks it up as Green swipes.
That explains a lot.
And that leaves him in a straitjacket, and that's just a defensive clinic out on the perimeter. He can also chase Brown away from the ball, not conceding soft switches in these spots, and his speed and length make shots much harder on closeouts, high-fiving Jaylen into a miss here. On this one, Curry switched onto Tatum, and this is a masterful stunt at the ball by Green, jabbing to force Tatum to pick up his dribble, then the ridiculous closeout to completely alter Brown's shot.
Draymond's a defensive genius,
bro. 1 for 11 with 4 points after that hot first quarter start, choking off one of the key cogs of the Celtics offense.
They trapped him.
Draymond's help defense was important in this game too, coming with a late double here and somehow catching the ball with his forearm to force another turnover.
Bro, something I wanted to say too, though, that a lot of people don't realize about Draymond is he's not gonna be a perennial 20-point per game scorer, but when it comes to everything else on the court, he's amazing at it. He's a great defender, a great one-on-one defender, a great help defender. He's a great playmaker. He's a really good rebounder for his size. He's high IQ. That offensive and defensive system. Well, defensively it starts with Draymond. Offensively it starts with Steph. But even offensively, he's directing traffic. So that's what makes him a Hall of Famer. And a lot of people that don't really know the game, they look at Draymond, they're like, oh, he's triple single, he's not scoring. Bro, that's not what his game is. He's a Hall of Famer because he can do everything else at a Hall of Fame level. So that's something that a lot of people need to start realizing, is that Draymond is not, his role on the team, on the championship team, isn't to score. And he knows that. That's why he's so good at what he does. So
caused another turnover on the first possession of the night, playing the lob perfectly against
Yep,
Rob
because he
Williams,
knew they
poking the
always
ball
get to
free
that
on the
Robert
way
Williams
down,
lob.
leading to this wild scramble where Time Lord stepped out of bounds.
Time Lord.
He even
Just
matched
stay
up
late
with
for
Al
everything.
Horford on the opening tip, smothering him for a jump
Yep.
ball and
That was
declaring
the
it
first play
wouldn't
of the
be
game.
as
I
easy
remember
as
that.
game 1. Gary Payton II, returning from injury, helped defensively too because he could take Tatum without any mismatch. Draymond jump switches onto him to completely blow up the play, and his pressure leads to a rushed pass and an easy Curry steal. Like Draymond, Payton can also guard just about anyone, and he kept the Jays in front of him most of the night, leading to another tip pass and a steal. Curry also had another strong defensive game. He's not big enough to take away Tatum's sidestep 3, but he's sturdy enough to stay in front of both Jays on the outside and funnel them into
that's all you could ask
or
for
long jumpers.
That's all you could ask for.
Late
Curry.
in the first, Tatum is hunting for a mismatch against Jordan Poole, and it's Curry who reaches in to strip him, and that leads to a Golden State runout where the defense sparks their offense.
I'm loving the adjustments that Golden State had, though, because if you watch Game 1, what they were doing is they would try to trap, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, which isn't a bad strategy. But the thing is, they would leave the role players wide open. Marcus Smart will be wide open. White will be wide open. Al Horford will be wide open. And that's how the Celtics beat them in the first game. So what Golden State did was, they're going to still help, but they're not going to try to go all out and trap Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. What they did is they applied a little pressure to them, and they did help. They did like hedge a little bit and help, but when it came to them trying to kick out to their role players, they couldn't get open looks to kick it out to them because they were helping. They were helping, and then the other guys would sag. They would be watching just to make sure. And even if they were to get a pass to Jaylen Brown or not Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart or Al Horford, or any of those guys or White, they will close out. They will be able to close out. They wasn't all out like closing out on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They would still have guys who could close out to the role players. So I'm really glad that Golden State was able to look at that and make that adjustment. So
offense, and Steph gets a great look from 3. Of course, Curry's offense drove the Warriors on that end, and this was a microcosm of his success throughout this postseason, playing under control, handling pressure, and scoring in the mid-range to keep defenses off balance. On this side out, he gets Horford on a switch, and Brown stunts to bother him, but that super tight handle keeps Curry balanced, so he can rock right into another move, and that is just filthy. I mentioned cross matches earlier, and this time Horford ends up on him in transition, and as good as Horford is out there, Curry is so crafty and patient about finding an angle, using his body, and his passing has been massive all season.
Al Horford is a
this
good
might be
perimeter
Steph's
defender,
best
though. Don't get me
passing
wrong.
season ever, so when he blows by Horford and meets a wall of defenders, he usually finds the best pass. His typical off-ball gravity was present too, freezing Horford on this handoff for just a beat so Draymond can spring free.
Draymond crafty
Both
with
Rob
that,
Williams
those
and Brown
too.
have had a few bumpy off-ball switches in this series, and this Steph cut through the lane brings both of them, so Kevon Looney ends up with another wide open layup. And I really loved this one in transition, where Curry is ahead of Klay, and by cutting horizontally, he pulls Smart out of the way, then pops out to the line to hold Rob's attention, and the result is neither Celtic defender is there to help Brown, so Klay waltzes in for 2. With all that said, Curry in pick and roll has been Golden State's best weapon in the half court in these first 2 games. Here he just attacks the switch by dusting Grant off the dribble. Then
Grant
a
Williams,
beautiful ball fake to make the corner pass easier, and there's that Gary Payton.
Bro, that gravity is crazy.
Here's another bit of subtle brilliance coming off the screen like he's going to shoot, only to dribble right, which pulls Horford over and opens up the pocket pass, and Payton can short roll pass, and it's free throws.
It's crazy. I know it became a little bit of a meme now, which is Steph Curry's gravity. I know it's a little bit of a meme right now, but bro, if y'all watch the games and if you watch like the little breakdowns like this, like you could see how many open looks that Steph Curry's gravity really generates. even if he's not getting the assist, like you just seen on this play, Steph was able to literally, they did the screen and Derek White was behind him, and then he got the guy sagging off. He got Gary Payton cutting, and then the other guy has to come help off Gary Payton's layup, and he passes to Draymond and he gets fouled. Like Steph's gravity literally created that look or created that foul for Draymond, and that's an underrated part of his game. Even though a lot of people do recognize it, it's like Steph's not only great because of his shooting, ball handling, and finishing. Steph Curry is also great because of the looks he's able to generate for his teammates. And in a way, that's how he makes his teammates better. So that's probably one of my favorite parts of Steph Curry's game is the gravity and the off ball movement along with that. And that's how he generates open looks for himself and for his teammates. So
they've also tried to pull Rob Williams out high in the pick and roll. Curry's too quick for him, and it's another
that's a
fake,
bucket.
and then a beautiful finish
bucket
off the glass. So naturally, the third quarter barrage started with a Steph pick and roll. Horford's too deep,
sagging
so
off.
Grant
You can't
sprints
do
to
that.
contest the three. Steph just moves it quickly, and that is a wide open three for Otto Porter.
The fact that he's sagging, like, why is Horford sagging off Steph Curry, bro? Like, why were they doing that? I don't get that. Like, they're literally the greatest shooter of all time, and you sagging off, bro? Like, nah, bro.
On the other end,
y'all can't be
Payton
doing that if y'all trying to win.
Horford, Curry drops off on Tatum's screening action, then
hedge.
jumps back out to Derek White and sticks to him like glue through the screen. They try to re-screen, but Payton just switches to the ball, and the shot clock is burned down, and that's a contested three. Only Horford grabs the offensive board, then tries to bully Steph in the post, but Curry stands his ground and reads the pass for a nice steal on a serious defensive.
Something that a lot of people don't realize is the amount of trust and communication it takes for Golden State to play the way they do defensively. If you've seen in that first screen they tried to do with Steph and Gary Payton, Steph, I think it was, I don't remember exactly who was on ball, off ball, but one of them was hedging on the off ball screen instead of actually switching. And then on the second screen, they actually switched. So you can see like the communication that it takes for them to play the way they do. Either they're hedging on the off ball screen or the on ball screen, or they're switching. It's not always the same thing consistently. If you watch Boston play defense, for the most part, they switch everything, which does take defensive communication. But Golden State's defense is a little bit more complex when it comes to when do they hedge, when do they switch, when do they help, when they don't help. Like it's a little bit more complex. So
stand. After some Draymond free throws, Curry dug right back in defensively, shutting off any driving ideas from the spunky Peyton Pritchard.
Look at that
and
on-ball
GP2
defense.
Stumbles, so Green makes an insane
White.
rotation to run White off the
Close
corner,
out.
and he steps out of
Yeah,
bounds
help him.
for yet another Draymond-induced
he stepped
turnover.
out of bounds.
It's more pick and roll from Curry, and since Horford is in the drop, Green screens him off so he can't
that's
step
a
up to the
bucket.
ball. That leaves
He's
Curry
sagging
wide
off. That's a
open,
bucket.
and he strings
That's a bucket.
another one.
Bro,
With the
can't be
lead
sagging
at
off of
14,
here.
it's another key defensive play from Steph,
Can't be sagging
stepping
off
up
of
to
here.
help and using those crazy reflexes to save a potential layup on the pass. And then on the next trip down, Curry has a counter for the drop, which is just launching from 30 feet, and that doesn't even seem fair.
You can't do that,
With the
bro.
lead expanding,
You can't
Poole
sag
then
off,
came
bro.
to life, attacking off the dribble. And notice how the backside movement occupies
he's
all
so
the help
quick with
defenders.
it, bro.
So it's an easy game of 2-on-2 for
That
Jordan
between the leg
and Looney.
crossover, bro, he does
That
it
put
so
the lead
quick.
at 17,
It's like super
and then
twitchy.
Poole
Like,
really did some damage, dropping in a deep three with 30 seconds left, only to one-up
Tice can't
himself
do
on the
nothing
next
about
play with a half-court swish, and all of a sudden it was a 23-point game.
at that point,
In the
it's
fourth,
over.
Poole made
At that
one
point,
more pull-up
yeah.
jumper, and then Al Horford fell down at half court to cap off a 25-2 Golden State run, and
At
that
that
was
point, it's
all she
over.
wrote.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Payton II's defensive versatility was a critical shot in the arm
Horford.
for the
Yep.
Warriors
Yep.
in this game. And Draymond Green's intensity on that end set the tone for the Warriors all night, holding Boston to just 92 points per 100. Steph Curry was also a big positive for Golden State on defense. And more importantly, his offensive
pressure,
movement
bro. They can't do
and
nothing.
pick and roll game have strained the Celtics' vaunted defense in the first 2 games of the finals. So Boston might need to find an adjustment to slow down this Warriors attack, because after 2 games, the Warriors have a 121
Literally
offensive
the only
rating with
points
Curry
Clay
on the
had,
floor,
that
and
3
so
in that
we're headed
layup,
back to
and
Boston,
whatever he had, he
all
played
tied
so
up
bad, bro.
at 1 game apiece. For additional content, check out Patreon.
So that's it for that video. One more thing I also wanted to comment on is, come game 3, what Boston has to do is they have to make that adjustment and getting the ball out of their hands a little bit more quicker. What Golden State was doing is, when they do help, they do end up applying more pressure, but there is always a guy open when they do that. So that's a con to the way Golden State play defense in game 2, is that they always leave a guy open somewhere on the corner, somewhere on the wing. And what Boston has to do, they have to adjust to that by looking for the open guy earlier. When Horford catches the ball in the post, he has to be looking, because Golden State is leaving people open. It's just that pressure is in the way Boston is holding the ball a little bit longer. They're not able to find those guys, and Golden State's able to create turnovers or miss shots or any things of that nature. So that's another good video from Thinking Basketball. Y'all go watch him. Y'all go subscribe to him. I'll make sure to leave the link in the subscription. And yeah, man, that's it for me. I'm out. Peace.